Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, and unto the Bayatha Tawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. So what you're seeing on the screen here is the celebrity Hunger Games star Josh Hutcherson says the films act as a warning. So we're going to read a little bit of this article and we're going to get into the scriptures. So without further ado, it says, Hunger Games star Josh Hutcherson has said its themes of authoritarianism and overpowering violent governments are very present in today's world. The actor, who has played the role of Peter Malark since the first film in 2012, told GQ Hype that he cannot confirm nor unconfirm whether he has been working on a new Hunger Games movie. He said the fantasy dystopian films and the novels they are based on act as a warning about giving government too much power and control. And it says here, about not standing up to authoritarians, he added, about stripping away civil rights, human rights. Being an American right now, it's like, what the fuck is going on? The American actor said he believes his country has lost its ways in so many ways. He said the fact that we're at ICE raids in the streets and funding wars. The fact that there are a lot of Americans who support it and many more who don't makes you feel like an alien in your own place. It's like, how are we allowing this? So, I'm not going to read too much more of this because this just goes into more of all this other mess. So, like he said, the whole thing with authoritarianism, overpowering governments, ICE raids, funding wars. Some people are for it and there's more that are against it. So, even some of these celebrities, they know that this place, America, aka Babylon, it's a shit show. It really is. This place is an absolute shit show. So, this is going to be the book of Ephesians. It's going to be chapter 6, verse 12, and it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right? So when you go into it, let's see, Salakia, bear with me one moment. So basically, when you go into the blue letter, you look up the word when you look up principalities, this is what it says here.
Strong's G 746,
Arche. And it goes into the first place, principality, rule, magistrate, of angel and demons. So in other words, a commencement or concretely chief in various applications of order, time, place, or rank. Beginning, corner, at the first estate, magistrate, power, principality, or principle, or rule. And it says against powers, and when you go into that part, into that word, powers is
Strong's G 1849. Exousia.
exousia, and that goes into the power of authority or influence and of right privilege, the power of rule or government, the power of him whose will and commands must be submitted to by others and obeyed. The power of judicial decisions, of authority to manage domestic affairs, the leading and more powerful among created beings, superior to man's spiritual potentates. Okay. So this is what we're dealing with. You know, people in high places that, you know, not just have money, but high social status, that claim that they're royalty, are like the so-called royal family over there in the UK, and the banking families, and of course the small hats. They're the ones that control everything, right? They're the ones that have control of the MIC, the military industrial complex. They have control over the religious sector, and they have control of the banks. They control the oil, they control the food, they control everything. Okay? And because of that, you know, like Josh said, that America has lost its way in so many ways. Which is another way of saying that this country is, it's no good. And it says here in Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 7, it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, because these other nations, they're getting tired of America being in their own business. You know, enforcing their laws and their rules upon them in their own land. You know, how can you tell someone how to live and how to conduct and coordinate things in their own land or in their own house? That's not your house. That's not your dwelling place. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. In verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Okay? So, America, aka Babylon, is not what people thought it was. Now that they see this place for what it really is, it's you know, a shit show. It really is. This place ain't it. So everyone's just closing up shop and going back to where they originally came from. Because a lot of these people know, these people that come from other countries, that come over here, they know what's about to happen. This is Revelation 18:1. It says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Verse 2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and because of the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So the habitation of devils, liars, deceivers, murderers, oppressors, and every foul soul. Okay? When you look in that word foul, It goes into, in a moral sense, unclean in thought and life, impure, morally or especially foul or unclean, so perverse in a sense. Revelation 18:3, it says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." Okay? "And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." So yeah, people got so caught up, have been so caught up in this place for so long. Now these people are starting to realize, like, damn, dude, what the fuck were we thinking? This place just suckers you out of everything that you got. This ain't the land of opportunity. Verse 4, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." In verse 5, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities." So, come out of her, my people. Of course, that's talking about the Israelites, but do we make a physical journey out of here? No. What it means by coming up out of her is leaving behind her ways, her philosophies, her doctrines, everything that you've been taught here in America. You need to let it go. It is not worth it. It's not worth holding on to. Nothing here is worth holding on to. All right, now this is going to be Isaiah 47:1. And it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." So in other words, be prepared to be brought low. You're not going to be so high-minded. You're not going to be so up there in status anymore. You're going to be humbled. You're going to be brought low to the lowest of the low. Verse 2, "Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover thy thigh, pass over the rivers." In verse 3, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." So who is the one that's exposing? That's exposing this place for what it really is. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And how is he doing that? Through his prophets. We are the mouthpiece of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's how we're exposing this place for what it really is. And people are starting to finally wake up and realize that what these men out here on the highways and byways that be standing in these weird clothes, holding these Bibles and preaching from it, what these guys are saying is true. People are starting to somewhat catch on. Verse 4, and it says, "As for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel." And also, back in verse 3 where it says, "I will not meet thee as a man." Yahweh Shai, he's coming back in his glorified state. He's coming back as he was originally intended to be. The second in command to Yahweh. And he's our Redeemer. In verse 5, "Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no be more called the Lady of Kingdoms." Okay? So America's not going to be so sought after. It's not so sought after right now. People from other countries, saying horrible things about this place. This place is not safe. The American way is poisonous. It's stupid. The American people are retarded. They have no discipline. They have no sense of purpose or direction. They do stupid shit. They cause problems. They think they're so much better than everybody else. And it's like literally that's what all these other nations' people are saying about America and Americans. This place is a joke. And you know that's all the will and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay. Jeremiah 50 and 23. And it says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? In 24 it says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Okay. And the pride of Babylon, the snare for Babylon was, the pride. Thinking that America is the best, the most powerful, the most untouchable. Look where that's got them. And with this orange duckling in office, that man's just the biggest idiot on the planet. Okay? He is too far out mentally. That man is that man looks like he's about to crash at any moment. Seriously. But other than that, that's all I have for this. But even these celebrities, even some of these celebrities, even they know that America is, that America is just, it's not what they thought it was. Being a star, being famous, it ain't what it's cracked up to be. Okay, you got all that money, but what about all those things you did behind closed doors with these freaks and weirdos in high places? But aside from that, was it really worth it? And with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying to the body and to the few sincere believers and listeners. And with closing, I'd like to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayatha Davadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give my utmost and sincere salutations. See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Abababal, Shalom, Barakatam.